At the height of my sales career, I closed almost $1.1 million in a single month selling info, courses, mentorships, the whole nine yards. I recently retrospectively thought to myself, what really separated me from everyone else, right? What allowed me to close over $1 million in a single month, which is quite unheard of in the entire industry itself. And the package that I was selling itself was $9,800. So if you do the math on that, that's a lot of deals in a single month being closed. So in this video, what I want to do is I want to go over the 5 main traits that make up a 1 million a month closer. And the traits that we're going to go over in this video are not traits that you are born with or God-given. I actually truly believe I'm not a God-given talent or anything like that. I just believe that I developed different traits over time by basically putting in the work that allowed me to get to the numbers that I got to in sales. And right now, we're in a time period where the bar for actually good salespeople is extremely low. Like being someone who's been at the top of this industry, I've seen a bunch of reps who come and go and they're just shit. They lack skill, they have no personality, they're lazy. If you actually become good at sales, you can make a fuck ton of money. So without further ado, let's dive into the traits. The first thing that I had over everybody else, okay? Now this is gonna sound a little generic, obsession, but be obsessed. But what I'll say is I wasn't, growing up, I was always known as a kid who was a bit lazy, who had no, prospects of doing anything in their lives. And it took me to find the right vehicle in my life to become obsessed. Now, I wasn't obsessed with making a lot of money because I always knew that, money would eventually come if I had the skills. My obsession came with being number one, being the absolute best, and just basically, having bragging rights over people, right? And being known as the guy that people look to on the team. In all transparency, this competitive nature that I have does come from my background in sports, but I was nowhere near as competitive as I was in sports compared to I was in sales. I used to be staring at the leaderboard, and every time somebody else used to close a deal, I used to feel like a stab in my chest, right? I used to be that obsessed with being number one and being the best. And it's actually funny because looking back at it, in my entire sales career, closing on one of the biggest teams in info, I was only not number one for 2 months, and that was my first 2 months. And I remember telling my sales manager when I jumped on the offer, I guarantee you I will be number one. There is no doubt in my mind that I will be number one. And eventually it happened, and eventually nobody could dethrone me. And the funny thing about being obsessed with something and with getting an outcome in your life is if your sole obsession in sales is to make a bunch of money, you will find that is not going to take you far in your career. Because I've been around a bunch of other salesmen before who made money one month and they've just basically fall off the face of the earth. For me, even when I was making a lot more money than every single person that I was competing against, I still worked 10 times harder than all of them. Why? Because I wasn't obsessed with the amount of commissions I was making at the end of the month. I was basically just solely obsessed with being the best, number one. That is a title that I wanted to my name at all times. And if it wasn't, I would feel really bad and I'd do anything in my power to basically get that back. And it's so funny, I speak to a lot of sales reps who are making 10, 15, 20K a month and they're third or fourth in their sales teams and they're cozy and they're comfortable. And if that's you, you need to genuinely look yourself in the mirror and have a conversation with yourself. Because if that's what you're happy with in this industry, you are very replaceable. You have no leverage, okay? And that's the last position that you want to be as a sales rep, is having no leverage and being replaceable. Because the thing about sales is if you are the best, if you have the most skills, if you are the Don Corleone, as I say, I remember at the height of my career, I was basically almost 30% of my company's entire revenue, and they were doing 3-4 million a month at that time. And I basically remembered the freedom of being able to do what I want, say what I want, act how I want in a team that's at that level gives you so much liberty and freedom, and it gives you so much confidence in yourself. Because if you're that rep who's basically micromanaged by a sales manager and who needs and he needs to basically kiss ass to be on a team, that's not who you want to be. And if you're that person right now, look at yourself in the mirror. You look at all the top athletes in this world, like Ronaldo, Messi, all these high performing athletes. You look at them, these people have a weird obsession with being the best and being number one, right? That's their common goal. And as salespeople, you should not want to participate. That should never be your goal. You should want to thrive and be number one and basically just shit on everyone else that you're competing against. So essentially, treat sales like it's a sport and be obsessed with mastering that sport and becoming number one and becoming the best. That's the first trait. Second trait, one that I have been known to carry, not just in sales, but in my life, and this is actually a philosophy of mine in life in general, was being a very big retard maxer. The principle of retard maxing essentially means stop overthinking and overcomplicating stuff and just fucking do things. And once you do things, things will just happen. Things will just fall into place. I see all these nerds in sales with all these different fucking these different SOPs and these different fucking word tracks and these different scripts and all these different things for sales, numbers, everything. And obviously tracking numbers and all that is important, but you take it to a different level where like you're just a nerd, you're just a neek, right? Retard maxing, like for me, I never was one who looked into all the fucking nitty gritty of everything. I always just kept things simple. I always just spoke my mind, and I always just said things that came to my brain in sales and life, you know, even getting into sales. Like I just did shit, and I ended up just making a bunch of money by retard maxing itself. Like all the people that, you know, used to be my competition on my sales teams, a bunch of these people, the reason why they couldn't come close to me was because they were such nerds. They would overanalyze every single nitty-gritty thing about their calls. They would run them through ChatGPT and Claude and look at all the different fine line details as to what they have to improve on, come up with a bunch of different SOPs to help them close more deals. I never put one of my calls in AI. Whenever I did, actually that's a lie. I used to put some of my calls in AI to basically get AI to glaze me. Right? So when I wanted a boost of confidence, I used to put one of my great sales calls, put it in AI, and it used to glaze the shit out of me, and I used to feel great about myself, right? So just things like that, right? Not overcomplicating sales. Like the top salespeople aren't the nerds or the neeks. Okay, these are the people who just do a bunch of shit and do things with conviction and confidence, and they don't overthink, and they don't try to be someone they're not. Because a lot of you are trying to be someone you're not, and the reality is that's fucking holding you back a lot. And the thing about retard maxing is don't be an idiot. Don't speak like an idiot. It's more so just like a way of thinking when you approach different things in life, whether that's business, relationships. Retard maxing might cook you for relationships, to be honest. But you know, different things in life, like just be a little bit more of a retard maxer, and you'll make a lot more money. Some of you watching this video might be retard maxers. Some of you watching this video might be obsessed, but I'm pretty sure a lot of you watching this video are big copers. You cope a lot. So the third trait that a lot of you do not have, which you need to incorporate, is accountability. A lot of people in this space, when something is not going their way, when they're not closing deals, when they're just not performing to expectations, they want to blame external factors for their own shortcomings. Now, sometimes it's not in your hands. Sometimes it's not it's not your fault. But the reality is, if you start blaming external factors for your shortcomings in life, you will go down this cycle of just everything in your life that's happening to you is out of your control, and you're just not moving forward, and you're just blaming other things, and you're never going to move forward in life. You're never going to see success. You're never going to make a lot of money in sales, because one of the biggest things that I learned from one of my mentors is always look at yourself before you look at other people. Always look at yourself before you look at marketing, before you look at lead quality. Are you doing everything in your power to actually make money and close more deals? Or are you just basically being an excuse merchant and saying fucking leads are fucked, the marketing's cooked? But what it is, it's like more of a mind game that you're doing with yourself. When I'm in a rut, the one thing that I never do is blame anything else other than myself. I am the reason I'm in this rut, and I'll get out of this rut myself. Whether that's me hitting my pipeline harder, whether that's me, working even more hours, right? Doing the extras that nobody will do to get me the outcome that I'm looking for. That is exactly how you should approach life in general.
Have you ever been in a rut in sales?
Yeah, I think so. Like a few days, I didn't close the deal. It's a rut. Might be like 2 days. The reason I'm never in a rut though is because of this, bro. I've always fucking just look at myself before I look at anything else, right? I'm gonna tell you guys a story, and this is actually a story that really puts this in perspective and how it can actually help you in your career if you just are not a coper. I remember this one month, this was like March 2025. I was on the offer that I was on for like 3-4 months, and I was climbing my way. I remember the month before that I became the top closer, and this is the second month. We just lost a firm, right? And I remember sales took a big hit. Everyone was closing a lot less than what they should be, what they were closing the month before that. Externalizing, saying, we're fucked without a firm and all these different things. And I remember the way I looked at it was like, this is an opportunity for me to get a lot of leverage. Now, what I mean by that is this was an opportunity for me not to complain like everyone else, not to blame external factors like everyone else, but just to fucking still do my job and still do my job at the highest level. I didn't take a single drop of my cash collected. I still made $25,000 in that month. And I remember how much leverage that gave me in the company moving forward. That basically got me better leads in the future, right? I was even on more priority. I was getting even better leads. I was making even more money from that point on. And that single month is actually one of the most defining moments of my career, because it would have been really easy for me to, stop closing at the level that I was and start blaming external factors, start fucking moaning and just being a bitch. When in reality, I knew that how lucky am I to be in the position I'm in? I'm 21 years old, making $25,000, $30,000 a month. And then funny enough, the month after that, I actually made over $45,000 in a single month because I got top priority on all the leads because my performance never dipped the month before that. So it kind of just goes to show that like, even though sometimes it's out of your hands, even though things are going against you, never be one to blame external factors, okay? Always look for a solution because for every problem in this world, for every problem that you have, there is a clear solution. This next trait is one that will take you very far in life only if it's not fake, if it's real, okay? And this next trait is basically having delusional self-belief. Fuck me, my handwriting is cooked. Anyways, did I spell that right? Yeah, I did spell that right. Now, I remember the amount of confidence that I used to exude every single day, approaching different tasks, doing different things in life, sports, sales, women, everything, was one of the top 3, top 2 reasons why I saw so much success at a very young age. Because I used to genuinely believe that I could do anything, right? I used to have an insane amount of confidence. Like even mentioning before about like, me coming on the offer that I was closing on and telling the sales manager that I'd be, the best person. Like somebody like me with 3 months of closing experience prior, getting on a team like that and literally saying and guaranteeing to the sales manager that he'd be number 1 is a pretty, bold thing to say. But the funny thing about it is I truly believed it. I didn't just say it. I knew for a fact that I'd be number 1 because I was willing to do things that others wouldn't do. I was willing to go the extra mile. I was willing to work 14 hours a day, every single day, give my life to become successful. Success came my way, and it will continue to come my way. And I'm telling you guys right now, Pinnacle will be the biggest sales ecosystem in the entire high-ticket sales space. I guarantee you that. We'll come back to this video in 1 year. And this is why I'm doing this for you guys, because I know what it truly takes to be successful. And I want you guys to understand that like getting to a successful level is not that hard. It's not easy, but it's not hard. You make it harder than what it's supposed to be. All you need to be is hungry and open to learn and just, have these different traits in yourself and develop these over time to actually make a lot of money. Again, I used to be an insecure kid. Growing up, I used to fucking be insecure about my physique. I used to be insecure about a lot of things. And I only started, having this confidence and conviction in myself when I was fully aware of all my insecurities and flaws and actually did things to basically amend them. And as I was getting better every single day, like I just started to get more confidence and I started to really believe in myself to another level. All in all, this trait right here will take you very far if you truly believe in yourself. If you don't actually just say it, if you actually genuinely believe that you are the shit and that nothing can stop you in this world and you can achieve anything that you want in your life. Now, the next trait, insatiability. Insatiability is a noun meaning the quality or state of an endless appetite or desire that cannot be satisfied. The fact that every single day, even though I was smoking everybody, like I felt behind and I felt like like nothing could satisfy the ambition that I had, that drove me to a level where like I couldn't even describe. Like I used to have like a $45,000 a day cash collected, and I used to sleep at night thinking about like, fuck, I could have done like 80K today, or I could have done this, or I could have done that, or I wasn't like doing good enough, and I was behind, and like I wasn't where I wanted to be. All these different things. My mind used to race constantly at night, thinking I'm behind, and just nothing could ever satisfy my ambition, right? And having this trait right here will take you very far because you will never settle. One of my best sayings on calls, and this is actually a great line that I use on sales calls to close people, especially with like people who are making decent money. Comfortability breeds complacency, right? It's very easy to make money 1 month or 2 months and start being more comfortable, and you start declining, and then you fall off the face of the earth, you lose all your momentum, and you can't find your way back to where you were before. So if you have this trait right here, that will never happen in your life. Like you will never get to a stage where you ever feel cozy or comfortable because you will always feel behind. No matter how much money you make, no matter all the feats and accomplishments that you achieve in your life, you will never feel like it's good enough. Some people might say that's like a miserable trait. Like who wants to be like that? It's miserable. I want to enjoy life. I want to be happy. I'm happy. I love my life, but I'm never satisfied. I'm never satisfied with whatever I'm doing. I always want to be taken to another level. I always feel like there's something else to do. And if you use that trait in the right way, it can take you very far in business and life and sales, everything. So all in all, people, this guy is pissing me off, bro. I'm in some fucking Airbnb in Seville right now. It's fucking guys just banging some shit. It's annoying the fuck out of me. Now, all in all these traits that we spoke about in this video, I truly believe like there's other things, there's other nitty gritty details, but these are the main things that really allowed me to separate myself from every single person, right? And if you made it this far in the video, it means that you are also looking to do so yourself in your own career. And if that's the case, if you want my help to get to the 1% of this space, to be a very good salesperson and make a bunch of money, there's a link in the video description to book a call, and I'll see you guys in the next one.